She really held the keys. In fact, she had a lot of the answers that you were looking for. But because you left her behind, there was so much about you that you really just didn't know.
Elevate with Monique. Elevate. Elevate with Monique.
Hey, welcome back, ladies, to another episode of Elect Elevation with your hostess, me, your girl Mo. And today we are really just talking about how important the connection with our little girl is in order to really understand perhaps some of the information and some of the tools that that little girl inside would be able to share with us on our journey as women. Now, a lot of times we just tend to leave the little girl behind. We tend to leave so much of ourselves behind. And I truly believe that it's not intentional. I think that we continue to move through life, and as life is coming at us, many times we're not thinking about looking back. We're not thinking about what we left behind. We're thinking about dealing with the things that are in front of us right now and moving into our future. But sometimes, not necessarily looking back on the negative, but looking back to find that little girl that we left behind can unlock so many things about us that perhaps we wouldn't have known. Now, this was definitely my story because my childhood was not the best. And so, as I continued to move through stages in my life, I genuinely tried to not think about the things that I was leaving behind, not think about where I came from. And that was a detriment to me because leaving those things behind also meant that I left that little girl behind and I forgot about her. I didn't even think about what she needed or where I left her. I didn't even think about what state of mind she was in when I left her behind. And I wonder, is that also your story? Well, the problem with this is one, it can leave us feeling the hurt, the pain, the guilt, and the shame of our past, right? All of the things that I had gone through in my life, I was running from them. I was always running from them because I didn't allow that little girl in to give me knowledge and wisdom. And of course, Holy Spirit was always there, and there was always revelation that came from my prayer time and studying the word. But there was so much wisdom that that little girl wanted to tell me and share with me so that I could release the hurt and the pain. The other conflict is we grow disconnected to who we are authentically, right? In another video, I talked about how the little girl in us is truly like the authentic part of us. It's the most purest, most richest version of us. It was the part of us that God created before we ever even knew who we were in this world. God had already instilled that in us. And so as we leave that little girl behind, we disconnect from her. And so we disconnect from the authenticity of who we are. There's an example for me. I remember when I became a mom, and all I could think about is how I needed to show up for my daughter and then eventually my children. But in doing that, there was a time where I lost me. I lost who I was. And if I'm being completely honest, probably at that point, didn't even know at that time who I was because I was so disconnected from the little girl that was inside, the little girl that I left behind. Another conflict is that we tend to adopt this judgmental mindset. And I don't think it's something that we do purposely. I think that when we go through life and we have these voids and we have these disconnects, if we come across people who seem very sure of themselves or seem very adamant about their journey, their personal growth, their personal development, we become judgmental. We sometimes can shut down and say things like, you know, she thinks that she's better than other people, or I don't need to do all of that, or that's not my story. And while that might be true, the reality is that you're judging, sis. You're judging from a place of really not knowing who you are. And so you're feeling a way about other people who are charting their path to stay connected to who they are and to who their little child has shown them that they are. And so I want to share with you a few things that you can do if this happens to be your story. And I realize this is not everybody's story. So if it's not, just take what resonates with you and leave the rest behind. But if this is your story, I want to offer a few tips that I believe will be helpful for you as you are going back to reclaim the little girl and the connection that you have with her. Number one is lean into curiosity about her. I talk a lot about different exercises and activities that you can do to lean into connecting with that little girl inside. I actually have one at the end of this video, if you stick around, that will help you to reconnect with her. But lean into curiosity, get to know her, get to know what she likes and what she doesn't like, what she needs and what she doesn't need. Number two is allow her to lead you with grace and teach you how to return to yourself. There's so much, sis. I cannot stress this enough. There's so much that that little girl version of you can teach you about yourself. And so when you allow her to lead and you allow her to implement the grace that you need to be able to express to yourself, she will help you to return to that authentic version of you that I talked about a few minutes ago. And she will also help you to embrace you, like truly embrace you. And let me just stop right here and say, again, I know a lot of times people will say, I embrace myself, I love myself, but their actions may not necessarily demonstrate that they really do love themselves. And so, as you're getting curious about that little girl inside, allow her to show you if you, in fact, genuinely, down to the core of who you are, do love yourself. And if there are areas where maybe there's a little bit more love that you need to demonstrate and show to yourself, allow her to offer that to you. Because what happens is the more love that you show to yourself, the more embrace that you have for yourself, the more grace that you have for yourself, the least likely you are to judge, the more likely you are to express and share love to other people around you, and the more grace you can share with your people, your world, your loved ones, your children, your friends, your coworkers. So that is what I am encouraging you to do. And then the last tip that I would give you is she is going to teach you how to release that guilt and that shame. This was something that was very, very challenging for me because I held on for so long to guilt and shame and embarrassment and hurt and pain that had I known some of this earlier in my life, I would have been able to allow her to lead me through those moments where I could release that guilt. I could release that hurt. Instead, I lived with it for so long, far too long, and I wasted far too much time. And I would ask you, how much time are you wasting living in the past, living with guilt and shame, all because you won't connect with the little girl version of you and allow her to just lead you through that journey? Now, I told you that I had an activity for you. I want you to sit in your sacred space. All of the work that we do, if we're not out in nature or if we're not taking ourselves on a date, we are in our sacred space. And the reason we are in our sacred space is because it allows you to be raw. It allows you to be naked, if you will, before your creator and just you. But in your sacred space, I want you to visualize having a conversation with the little girl inside. And I want you to ask her, what is one thing that I need to know right now in my life that I perhaps left behind? For me, it was one thing. I'm just going to share one. One thing that she taught me was I am enough. And that was something that for so long I struggled with. I didn't believe that I was enough. I didn't believe that I was worthy of love and attention and affection in a healthy way. And she taught me that I am enough. That is something that I hold near and dear to me now because of the wisdom of that little girl. And so I hope that you will do the same and that she will bring forth to you some wisdom and something that you can take into your adult life right now. Now, listen, if this is something that you say, well, Mo, I really want to connect with the little girl inside, but I really don't even know how connected I am right now. I don't know if I even know the little girl inside. I am so glad that you said that because I have an assessment tool for you. It is called the Inner Child Connection Assessment. And this is an opportunity for you to sit with yourself, answer a few questions in order for you to identify how connected you are right now, today, with the little girl inside. And then you know where you're starting from. So I hope that tool helps. I hope this information helps. If you are new to this channel, I want to say welcome, welcome, welcome. We talk here about all things personal development, personal transformation, and honey, elevating your life because that is what it's about. It's about growing, it's about learning, it's about becoming better versions of ourselves. And so, if this video resonates with you, go ahead and hit the like button for me and share it with someone, share it with a friend, share it with a cousin or a sister. And if you are returning to the channel, I want to say welcome back, sis. I love to have you here. Drop a comment below about one thing that you took away from this video. And I hope to see you in the next video. Until then, I love you. Bye.